A honeymoon usually suggests the Mediterranean sun and quiet terraces. But for an English traveler named Standish and his new bride Tina, their post-wedding trip is currently stalling in a rain-drenched stone inn at 7,000 feet. Desperate to reach the warmth of the valley, they board a massive 5-horse carriage for the final leg of the journey. The road ahead is a series of dizzying zigzags carved into the mountain face. One wrong turn means a sheer drop of thousands of feet, and the heavy carriage is already skidding in the worsening mud. Inside the cabin, Standish looks out the front window and realizes the driver isn't watching. He's standing up, facing backward, staring at the couple with a look of pure, focused hatred. The driver screams that he is taking them to the Weisse Knot, a specific point on the pass where he intends to drive the entire team over the edge for a drop of over 5,000 feet. He cracks his whip, sending the 5 horses into a blind, panicked dash. The carriage lurches forward, hurtling toward the next hairpin turn at a speed the mountain was never meant to handle. But who is the man whipping those horses toward the abyss? And why did an idyllic honeymoon lead them to the deadliest road in Europe? To find the motive for this hijacking, we have to travel back to the warm, placid shores of Lake Como. This is where Tina Lenz, the flirtatious daughter of a local hotelier, first met Pietro. He was a poor carriage driver, but he was convinced they were destined to be together. Pietro's obsession was violent. He once threatened to drive a stiletto into Tina's father just for trying to end the courtship, a move that eventually forced Pietro to find work at a different hotel. That distance allowed Standish to enter the picture. He was a wealthy English tourist and a painter, and his status easily won over Tina's interest, pushing Pietro to the margins. While Standish spent his long days painting Tina's portrait on the terrace, Pietro watched from a distance, his resentment growing as he was replaced by a man who didn't even know his name. Tina enjoyed the attention, dismissing Pietro as a part of her past. She had no idea she was building a reservoir of rage in a man who spent every day handling powerful horses and sharp blades. The tension broke on a quiet evening in the hotel garden. Standish was standing alone in the purple haze of the twilight, thinking about his upcoming wedding. Without warning, a shadow lunges from the foliage. A blade flashes, slicing his arm before he can even raise a hand to defend himself. The attacker wipes the blood from the steel and vanishes into the dark. Standish has no idea why he was targeted, but Tina recognizes the signature of the attack immediately. She knows Pietro has returned. Instead of warning Standish, Tina chooses to protect the wedding. She secures her father's silence and tells Standish the attack was likely a mistake, a random local quarrel he just happened to walk into. By treating the attack as a fluke, Tina allows Pietro to slip away over the mountain pass. He vanishes from the lake, moving from a defeated rival to a predator waiting in the high Alps. Now that predator is back in control. The carriage is paring down the Stelvio Pass in the blinding rain, with nowhere to turn. As the driver screams his threats, Standish finally recognizes the man behind the whip. It's the same face that loomed over him in the garden at Como. Tina collapses on the floor of the carriage, completely paralyzed, as her decision to hide the truth catches up to her. Standish realizes the horses aren't going to stop. He unfastens the heavy cabin door, looking out at the muddy road as it blurs past. He waits for a slight curve and jumps. He hits the wet dirt and rolls into the mud as the carriage hurtles on without him. Standish doesn't wait to see if the driver will stop. He forces himself to his feet and begins a desperate sprint back up the muddy road, hoping to intercept the horses before they reach the next switchback. Standish manages to scramble back up the slope, cutting across the zigzags to reach the horses. He lunges for the driver's box, grappling with Pietro in the mud until he finally manages to throw the man from the carriage. Standish takes the reins himself, hauling back on the 5 panicked horses. The wheels lock, skidding through the mud, and the carriage finally grinds to a halt just feet from the edge of the mile-high drop. The couple would eventually find safety in the Tyrrell, but the honeymoon was over. The 5 miles of blood and mud on the Stelvio Pass proved that Tina's silence had not ended the rivalry. It had only moved it to higher ground.
Want to hear more horrifying, revenge, real stories? Some stories are too dark to forget. Subscribe to Storybook for more horror and revenge, real stories.